You know that feeling, that constant urge to check your phone, even when you know there's probably nothing there? Well, I'm here to tell you that's not a personal failing. It's not a lack of willpower. It's a design feature. Your phone was literally engineered, using decades of behavioral psychology to be as hard to put down as possible. So let's unpack how they did it. Check out this number, 96. That's the average number of times we check our phones every single day. If you do the math, that's about once every 10 minutes that you're awake. It's kind of wild when you think about it. But here's the real question. Think about the last few times you picked it up. Do you actually remember the specific reason why? Or was it just a reflex? You know, this automatic compulsion, a habit that just runs in the background without you even thinking. That's the mystery we're going to get into today. To really get how this was built, we've got to go back to the basics, to the psychology behind it all. See, this isn't really about cutting-edge tech. It's about old-school, predictable human behavior. And it all starts, believe it or not, way back in the 1950s with a guy named B.F. Skinner. He was a psychologist studying rats in a box, and he stumbled upon a discovery that, without him even knowing it, would end up shaping the entire tech industry as we know it today. Skinner figured out the absolute most powerful way to make a behavior stick. He called it a variable reward schedule. Basically, it's a system where the reward for doing something comes randomly, unpredictably. And it turns out this is hands down the most powerful way to hook a brain ever discovered. And this difference is everything. So when Skinner's rats knew that pulling a lever would always get them a food pellet, their behavior was pretty chill. They'd press it, they'd eat, they'd move on. But when the reward was unpredictable, when the lever only sometimes coughed up food, their behavior completely changed. It became frantic, compulsive. They couldn't stop pulling it. And bam, that's the perfect analogy for today. Pulling down to refresh your social feed, checking your notifications, opening your email, every single one of those actions is a pull of the lever. Sometimes there's something awesome waiting for you. A great post, a message you wanted, but most of the time, nothing. And it's that uncertainty that becomes the engine of the whole thing. Now, this is where most of us get the science a little bit wrong. We always hear that dopamine is the pleasure chemical, right? That it's released when we get something good. But that's not quite right. Dopamine is actually released in anticipation of a possible reward. It's the chemical of seeking, of wanting. And the more uncertain that reward is, the more your dopamine spikes. Your brain isn't hooked on the pleasure, it's hooked on the possibility of pleasure. And this whole dopamine loop gets supercharged because of our deep, deep evolutionary history. I mean, for 200,000 years, our survival depended on social belonging. So your brain developed this incredibly sensitive alarm system for social acceptance. And that ancient brain software, it literally cannot tell the difference between getting validation from your village and getting 47 likes on a photo. To your brain, it feels exactly the same. Okay, so we've got this super potent psychology as the foundation. Now let's look at how these exact principles are engineered deliberately right into the apps we use every day. Trust me, this stuff is no accident. I mean, think about it. Every other medium we've ever had a natural end. A book has a final page, a movie has credits that roll, a newspaper has a bottom. These are called stopping cues, and they're super important psychologically. They give our brain a little break, a moment to pause and decide if we actually want to keep going. And then this thing came along, the infinite scroll. It's such a simple design choice, but it's devastatingly effective. By just removing the endpoint, the default behavior isn't to stop anymore, it's to continue. You don't make a conscious choice to keep scrolling, you just never get a clear signal telling you it's time to stop. And all of this intense engineering work leads to a really important question, right? If all these apps we're using are free, what's actually the product? What's being sold here? The answer is dead simple. It's you. Or to be more specific, it's your attention. The longer these platforms can keep you scrolling, the more ads they get to show you and the more money they make. Your attention has become the raw material of this new economy. And look, you don't have to take my word for it. Tristan Harris, a guy who used to be a design ethicist right inside Google, he put it perfectly. You've got this tiny group of people in Silicon Valley making design choices that literally affect how billions of us think and spend our time. The business model doesn't just benefit from our addiction, it actually requires it. Okay, so that's the problem, and I know, it sounds big, maybe even a little daunting. But the good news is, you absolutely can fight back. There are practical, really effective things you can do. So let's get right into your actionable checklist.
Let's start with 3 super powerful changes you can make today. First, turn off all non-essential notifications. This is huge. It puts you back in control of when you check your phone, not the apps. You break their reward schedule. Second, create phone-free zones. The most important one, your bedroom. Don't let your phone be the first thing you reach for and the last thing you see. And a third simple trick is to go grayscale in your phone settings. It removes all those bright, colorful, rewarding visual cues that are designed to grab you.
And that point about phone-free zones, it is way more important than you might think. A study from the University of Texas actually found that just having your phone sitting on your desk, even if it's turned off and face down, measurably reduces your focus and your available brain power. Seriously, out of sight really is out of mind. So here's the bottom line. This isn't about becoming a Luddite or throwing your phone into a river. The goal is to stop being operated by your device and start being the operator. It's about using it as the powerful tool it can be consciously, instead of being used by it compulsively. So let's bring it all home. What this really boils down to is understanding the conflict that's happening inside this little glass rectangle we carry around, and then making a conscious choice about how we want to engage with it. This right here is the central conflict. On one hand, your phone is an incredible tool. It has more computing power than NASA used to land a man on the moon. But on the other hand, it's been engineered with the exact same addictive psychology as a casino slot machine. And both of these things are true at the same time, in the same device. Knowing how it's engineered doesn't make you immune, but it does fundamentally change the relationship. You can stop blaming yourself for a lack of willpower and start seeing the actual design that's at play. So the next time you reach for it, you get to ask yourself a question. Am I picking up the tool right now, or am I just pulling the lever on the slot machine? The choice